I've been asked many times what my studio setup actually comprises of. So that is what I'm going to be going through in today's video. Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Jason Kruger, and I help heart-centered businesses build and automate their online marketing systems. So in today's video, I'm going to be going through my exact tech setup. Now, with some of the gear that I'm going to be showing you, I will put a link to where I've bought them from in the description so that you can have a look at them for yourself. So first of all, where do I start? Well, the software that I'm using is called vMix. Now, the reason I'm using the software is because I'm using a PC. So if I show you the actual software itself, this is vMix, and this is where I'm running the whole show from. So this screen here is actually showing me what's going out either live or what is being currently recorded. This is the preview screen, so I can see what might come up next. And I've set up everything else here. So the pips, the picture-in-picture, so this type of screen here, and I've got a few others as well. And I've got two other cameras set up as well. vMix runs on PC, it doesn't run on Mac. If you're looking for a Mac setup, then I recommend you look at Ecamm Live. Now, the reason like I said, I'm using vMix is because I've gone PC. I am a Mac user myself, but you can get a lot more power for your money if you go PC, especially if you're doing live streaming. So that's what I've done. And the PC that I've got is actually a Dell Alienware PC. It's one of the latest ones, Aurora 9. And I've got it quite high spec, and I'll put a link to that in the description. So let me show you that. Now, I've actually set up a webcam kind of up in the corner, and as you can see, you can now see the behind the scenes of my whole production. Normally, this is all you see, and it's what I want you to see, and you don't see what everything else is going on to actually make this production possible. So if I go back to the behind the scenes, you can see I've got my two monitors here. One is showing me vMix, and so I can monitor all of that. This is another screen where I can actually have vMix if I'm going to be showing the desktop. Normally I'm showing a web page or software, and I'll actually have that on this screen. And I'll actually have vMix on this screen so that I can just kind of see the camera and the screen kind of in my peripherals. So that's that part of the setup with the PC. Now, again, with PC, you do need a high-powered PC, and I'm actually using a gaming PC, and that's what the Alienware actually is. Now, after that, what I've now got is my camera, which is a Sony A6100, and the lens that I'm using is a Sigma 16mm 1.4 lens. Now that's what allows me to create this shot as well as having the kind of blurred background. And a lot of people ask, how do you achieve that? And it all comes down to the lens that you're using, but it also depends on the camera you're using. If you're just using a normal webcam, you're not going to get that same effect because the sensors in those are very small, and you just can't get the same effect. So if you want this type of effect, then you will need a much more powerful camera. Now, when it comes to actually connecting the camera to your PC, you will need a capture card. Now, I'm using the Elgato HD60S Plus, and that allows me to connect the camera via HDMI to the PC. And that's what's giving me this quality. Now, some cameras, I think Canon and Sony have brought out software where you can just connect your mirrorless cameras directly to the PC without a capture card, but the quality is not going to be the same. It's going to be higher than a webcam, but it's not going to be the quality you're seeing here. So those are the main parts of that setup. Now, the other parts of the setup that I have is my microphone. I'm using just a normal blue Snowball microphone. I've had this for over 10 years and I haven't upgraded that yet because it does what I need it to do. Saying that, I am looking to upgrade the mic in the future with a few other gadgets, so I can change my voice and mute easily and stuff like that. So that is something that I'm going to be looking to do in the future. But for now, this microphone works perfectly well, and I've just got it on a boom mic, so I can get it as close to my mouth as possible. Now, people say, well, do I have to really spend money on a very expensive mic? No, you don't. The Snowball is about £50. I've seen other ones for around 30. Those will actually be good enough. You don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on a microphone. The USB mics nowadays work very well. The only thing you need to do is make sure that you're getting it close to your mouth. Saying that, in this shot you can't actually see it, but it's just there, and that's how close it is, and it's giving me really good sound. Now, the other thing that you're going to be needing to look at is the lights. So if I go back to the behind the scenes, and as you can see, I've actually got 3 lights on me. I've got my main LCD panel light just in front of me here, so it lights me from the front, and I've got these 2 smaller lights just to give me that extra bit of light on the sides so that I'm well lit and there's no really dark shadows going across. Now, you could get away with just having 1, but this is what they call 3-point lighting, so that you lit very well. The reason I'm using an LED panel light rather than a ring light is because I wear glasses. You could, if you don't wear glasses, you could just use a ring light which would fit just here, and the camera would go through the middle, and that would then light you up really nicely. But because I'm wearing glasses, that would actually reflect quite badly in my glasses. Saying that, my LCD panel, when I look at the camera in some angles, does give me that reflection. This LCD panel should probably be mounted slightly higher so that I'm not getting those reflections. Now, I'm being mentored. I've got mentors that I've been following now since the beginning of the year. They're called Live Streaming Pros, and they have what they call 3 stages, or kind of 4 stages of live video. You have level 1, which would just be kind of going live or creating videos on your mobile phone, and that's all you need. Level 2 will be starting to look at other software, but these are more web browsed pieces of software, and they are going to be kind of Facebook, using Facebook Live or that through your browser. Or there's another piece of software which I've used with some clients called StreamYard, and that also works very well. There are limitations to that. Some of the quality, they're not going to be doing it at high definition, so your 1080. A lot of them will stream at 720, and this is just because of the amount of data that has to go from your setup to them, processed, and then out again. So they're limited to 720 at the moment because of the higher costs. Now, when you start going to level 3, this is where you will be using software actually on your PC. So as I've said, vMix on PC or Ecamm Live on the Mac. And this is where you can then start doing the fancier things, like having your lower thirds come up, as I had at the beginning of the video, the intros, etc., and you can control it all via the software. Now, if you want to then start going kind of to level 4, this is where you have the extra kind of gadgets to help you with your production. And throughout this video, I've actually recorded this video all in one take, and I've been swapping between the 2 cameras using this little keypad here. Now this is X keys, and it's what you use kind of on a PC. It works very well on a PC. If you're using eCam on a Mac, you'll be using this Stream Deck. And they serve the same kind of functions where you can be talking to the camera and without looking down. I still look down, but you know, still getting used to the way I've put everything on the buttons. But normally you could be talking to camera and you can fire things off without looking down, so that you can do kind of a one-man show and have it look as if it's been expertly produced. So that's something you can use. The other thing that I want to be saving up for and buying in the future is to do with the mic. So as I said, I'm going to be upgrading this microphone, and the other piece of software that or a bit of hardware that I'm looking to add to my production is called the Go XLR. And that is another panel that will kind of sit here where I can modulate my voice. There's a bleep button. You can mute yourself, and you can also route audio. So for instance, if you're on Zoom, at the moment I can play music on here. So let's play some music. So that's all been played through vMix. But at the moment, if I wanted to have this kind of production through Zoom, I can have my videos, the camera being taken through Zoom, and I can control and have some of the pop-ups come up within Zoom, but I couldn't have the music playing because I can only bring in my mic. With the Go XLR, that's where that will control everything, and I'll actually be able to route music through all those systems as well. So that's something more advanced. It's not something that you need to be looking at just yet. So as you can see, this is my complete setup. Now, the other thing that you might want to look at when you are creating your whole setup is your background. My background has got my personality in it. I'm originally from South Africa, so I've got some of my kind of South African art that I picked up when I was back there in 2008. I've got the animals. I've actually got an ostrich egg just around here somewhere. But also I was very much into my Technic Lego when I was growing up, and I still do enjoy it. I'm starting to get my son into Lego now as well. So I've got some of my models up here that I created when I was 10, 12 years old. So I've kind of brought in some of that personality, but then I've also used LED lights to help light it up, and again create a bit more of an atmosphere behind me. It makes it more interesting, and can also be a conversation starter when you start doing kind of live Q&As, etc. On Facebook or YouTube. So if that's something that you are interested in doing, then I would recommend having a look at how you can maybe create a great background. I don't recommend using green screen. I find it horrible. If not done right, it looks very cheap, and actually it does look very unprofessional. If you see some people using it on Zoom, sometimes if it's not working quite right, they get a bit of a fuzziness around their heads and stuff like that. And it's not really a great look. I know that some people want to use it for branding purposes, but you could put some branding behind you, for instance. Sometimes you might not have the room, but again, you don't need a massive room to create your own little video studio. So I hope you've liked these tips and shown you a little bit about how my setup is and how I've created that. Actually, one last thing I forgot to mention is my camera is actually mounted just on an arm. Normally they're actually used to mount projectors from the roof, but I couldn't find something that would fit on the desk. There are clamps out there, but with some of them they are hundreds of pounds, and this was something like 10 to 15 pounds. I actually haven't got a drill to the desk. I'm actually using two little clamps here just to clamp it to the desk, so that one, I can move it around, but two, I don't have to drill any holes in the desk. As I've said, I will be linking to a lot of this equipment on in the description, so if you want to take a look at any of those, you'll be able to find that there. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video and seen how I've created my little studio, and if you do like this video, if you wouldn't mind, wrong button, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I next post a video. So as I've said, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you on the next one.